and welcome to Hong Kong Business Owners. I'm Carmen, founder of this podcast that shares inspiring stories from entrepreneurs based in Hong Kong. Whether you created your own business, thinking about doing so, or simply curious to discover business creation stories, you'll get to listen to unique business owners' journeys, to learn what it takes to start a company, what the keys to success are, how to apprehend failures and challenges, and what to keep in mind when developing your own business. As an entrepreneur, one of your main focus is to sell your products or services. That's where marketing comes into play, especially digital marketing and social media. Do you know how much time we spend every day on social media? More than 2 hours. That's an opportunity to interact with your audience, reach new customers, and get more visibility. To find out more about how to leverage social media to grow your business, check out oak.genhk.com, the agency that helps business owners find their place on social media. Now let's move on to the episode. I hope it'll inspire you and guide you in your current or future projects. And don't forget to give me 5 stars to show me your support. Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of Hong Kong Business Owners. Today I'm with Adam Michael Toctan, co-founder of MCG Talent, a recruitment agency for marketing, creative, communications, and digital talents, present in 5 locations across Asia and Middle East. Morning, Adam.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Pretty good. Not bad. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome
Good.
on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You're a recruiter.
I am.
You're also a business owner.
I am.
You live in Hong Kong.
I do.
I got it all right.
100% perfect.
But going back in time, you were doing something completely different. I mean, you were meant to do something completely different.
Yeah.
Very far from here in Europe, in London.
Yeah.
So what exactly made you switch careers? I'm curious to know, is it an encounter or what happened?
So, I mean, I was always told I was going to be a designer, a car designer by trade. And I went and studied transport and product design at Coventry University. And then I realized I wasn't actually that good compared to my peers. And in my spare time, I used to sell cars. So I was a used car salesman as a teenager. And I then put a very embellished CV online. Back then, I think there was it called Monster or something? It was like an online CV portal or something. And some poor sod found my CV and said, "Hey, do you fancy working in recruitment?" And I had no idea what it was. I didn't even know jobs like that existed. I said, "Yeah, why not?" It was an opportunity to go up to London. And for me, moving from my hometown of Bournemouth on the south coast of England, going to the capital was exciting. So I said, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And very quickly, I landed my first job in recruitment. It was legal recruitment.
Wow,
so
that's very specific.
It was quite specific. I had no intention of going into legal recruitment, but I thought, you know what, why not? It seemed more professional turning up to work in a not particularly nice suit, but in London versus selling some dodgy secondhand BMWs. So
yeah, but in a way, it was very honest of you to, realize, okay, I'm not the best at that. Maybe I should switch.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, nobody I know wakes up and says, "God, I want to be a recruiter." It's just not. It's not what people advise people to do. It's not, on the career advice portal. I think when I was a kid, I was told I was meant to be a dentist or something for some reason. I can't stand people's mouths and teeth and operations and stuff like that. So I've got no idea why that was meant to be a chosen career path as a kid. So I just kind of fell into recruitment like a lot of people do. And I'm still here sort of 15, 16 years later doing it.
Cool. Amazing. So you came to Hong Kong. When did you came to Hong Kong?
2016.
Okay.
But I'd been here before. I'd traveled back and forth for work. So I knew I'd like it out here.
So how did you start MCG Talent here in Hong Kong? Because what was it like to build a business from scratch and then you grew to 40 staff? I think you had 2 office locations in Hong Kong. I guess you met everybody in Hong Kong for the first year or something like that. How did you build a business development strategy on all of that?
Yeah. So I got contacted by my now business partner, Justin. He originally contacted me about launching MCG in London. But I said, look, I've been in London for, at that point, 7-8 years. It doesn't excite me enough to kind of want to start a business from scratch in a place that I already know. So it made sense to put my hand up to Asia. I'd been out here quite a few times with work for my previous company. I knew I'd like it. I knew it would be a big challenge. And I think at that point, in my early 30s, I was looking for that. So, yeah, I had a lot of conversations with him, probably over about 4 months. It was because it was a big decision for them and a big decision for me. And the stars aligned and that was it. I think it was the summer of 2016, packed my bags, flew to Dubai, three weeks of sort of intense onboarding in Dubai, which I actually really enjoyed. And I was quite sad to be leaving on my own. And then the reality hit, I think, when I got to Hong Kong, that like, damn, I'm here now. Got to make it work.
Because your business partner is in Dubai. Yeah,
so he's in Dubai. He did a small stint for a couple of years in Singapore, but that was literally just prior to COVID. And I don't think it was the best experience for him and his family. So he then moved back to Dubai.
Okay. So then you arrived in Hong Kong, and then what was the plan? What happened?
I think my first experience was moving into a service department and going, God, what have I done? Like there was, it was so small. And I know places in Hong Kong are small, but I could touch every wall standing in the middle of it. And it was tiny. And I think it was at that point, the reality hit of, I've got to make this work. And for the first month or so, I thought I'd made a mistake because everybody who I was calling up didn't care who I was, didn't know the name of the company, didn't know me. But people were, I think, polite and nice enough to want to meet with me. And we were able to, or I was able to get enough meetings lined up in Dubai that when I'd landed in Hong Kong, I think I'd had about 30, 35 meetings lined up already. So that was pretty good. So I could then go and hopefully convince people to want to work with some guy who just landed in Hong Kong, that I'd be better than anybody else on the ground here. And we grew the business from there.
Wow, you got to be persistent at the beginning because no one knows who you are.
Yes.
And no one needs you, actually.
Yeah, very, very, very persistent. I mean, I think for me, I found when I was speaking to clients out here that you either really wanted to work with me and the business or you didn't, because I didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. So there were some clients that just wanted that. Yes, I can do that. Yes, that's not a problem. That's a great brief. You're a great client. And for me, I wanted to kind of take this quote unquote London style of recruitment to Hong Kong, which was just being more honest and just more direct with people from the outset, just so we don't waste each other's time. So if the brief wasn't a good brief, I'd tell them it wasn't a good brief. If they didn't know what they were looking for, I'd call them out on it. If what they were looking for didn't exist, I'd tell them you have to flex the brief. And some clients really, really enjoyed having that conversation because they said that there'd not really been any recruiters that had advised them of this in the past. And it was really refreshing for them and they loved that. Others didn't. They were like, no, I know what I'm looking for. I'm like, well, cool, you go look for it then because I'm not going to help you. And those businesses we don't work with, and we've got plenty that we do that value our opinion.
Do you think, this made you stand out from the crowd?
I'd like to think so. Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, I've always maintained that you can be honest and direct with people, but still remain polite and courteous. And we all work in busy industries. We don't have time to waste for each other. So just be honest from the outset.
Yeah. And also you are the they work with you because you're the professional and you know your job, you know? And I mean, if they work with you, is because they don't have the skills that you have?
Yeah, I think for us, clients always look for three things, and these three things never align. It's they want the best talent as quick as they can for as cheap as possible. Yeah. Now, normally you can get two of those out of the three things together, but to try and get all three is almost impossible. So we do our best to try and give the clients two, sometimes three of those things. And different clients will prioritize one of those three things above and beyond something else. And then we work with that business to identify those people. Are we successful? With each client we work with? No, we're not. But we are with most.
Mm. And yeah, so then this is how it started. And then, so your business partner is still in Dubai?
Yeah. He's still in Dubai, living the Dubai dream.
Okay.
And doing well over there.
All right. And how do you work with your business partner? Well, first, how did you meet him? Also, how do you work together? I mean, how do you communicate? How do you make decisions for the business? Are you more focused on the Asian market and he's in the Middle East?
Yeah. So he called me up out of the blue one night because I think I'd been referred to him, and I thought it was like a scam caller. So I think I might have put the phone down on him first because I'd had a couple of these people trying to sell me opportunities and stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not interested, go away. And then he called me back. He's like, no, I've been referred by this person. And I thought, okay, let's have a conversation. And he obviously liked me enough to want to have another conversation and vice versa. And then we just met up one day in Soho House in London because we were both there and got on really well. And that's when we got talking for this long period of time. And for me, the business I'd worked for previously, it was a great company. I had a lot of respect for the guy who ran it. It just wasn't a scalable business to join, and it would have been a lot of a risk. It would have been a big risk, I felt, moving for me out to Asia with that business. Yeah. So this one just seemed a lot more settled. I mean, the client base that MCG had in the Middle East was exceptional. It was an amazing array of clients. So it, for me, was a really good launch pad to say, look, I'm going to take these brands and we're going to replicate what you guys do in the Middle East in Asia. So that's how we met. And I think we've got a lot of complementary skill sets. We differ in lots of ways, but it's kind of almost like a bit of like a yin and yang type thing. It seems to work quite well. So we both have a lot of mutual respect for each other and trust, but are intrinsically quite different.
Like, if you have to make a decision, does it, I mean, for, I don't know, if it's for Hong Kong or Asia, does he trust you enough to be like, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
And if it's like a more strategic decision for the business, then
we'll discuss and collaborate and work out what we think is best for the business on that front. If it's a company-wide thing, I mean, he makes decisions in the Middle East because he knows the Middle East.
Yes.
I know Asia, so he trusts me there and I trust him there. And so far it's worked. He's quite glass half full. I'm very glass half empty in the way I approach everything. So I have just like an intrinsic distrust of people and services and everything. And it's like, okay, well, what do you want? Why? And he always sees the good in people and the good in things. So I have to kind of sometimes bring him back down to reality. And in turn, he does push me to be a bit more open with trying new things as well. So that seems to work.
Interesting. Okay. So now you are present in 5 locations, as you said before. So what's your next big achievement? Is it to open a new location, new market?
It's tough being a independently managed, privately funded business. So when you launch like a new office and things, it's expensive and it's risky. So I mean, our newest venture office-wise, I guess, is probably Saudi Arabia, KSA, and that's been an expensive thing to do. But we are starting to see the rewards from that. We now need to figure out how do we capitalize on the investment that's been made there to make it as successful as I think it could be. For Asia, we flirted with the idea of initially opening an office in mainland China. That was just before COVID, so I'm really glad we didn't do that, because that would have been money down the drain. We were also at a point where we were thinking about Bangkok, and we have thought about Tokyo. They're all possible options still, probably not mainland China, but Bangkok, Tokyo, and potentially Jakarta as a location. So this is where clients are asking us for our help. Okay. And I think having presence either on the ground there or having that license to trade there and to do business there would be something that I think would be a good, advantageous next step. Having the Middle East and having Asia is quite nice because they're both fairly volatile markets and regions to work in. And I don't think we've had a year yet where both markets have really flown. So it's always been either like Asia's supported the Middle East, if the Middle East has had a bit of a tough start, and vice versa. So last year for Asia, it was a tough year in Asia. Yeah. But actually the Middle East was really good. So things kind of evened out a bit. I think we just want to kind of ensure that we're expanding and covering all bases.
Okay. All right. So now if we talk more maybe about you, you told me last time that you like your flexibility, that you can travel and you can work basically from wherever you want. Yeah. You can organize your schedule, your travels, but you, as your recruiter and a business owner, you always need to be reachable on your phone. I don't know, you're in touch with your business partner, with candidates, with your staff. So how do you handle the balance? Because even if my business is not the same, I have my marketing agency and my podcast. So I'm very flexible too, but I'm always connected. And sometimes I feel that I need to, just disconnect for a while.
Yeah. It's tough. I've really struggled with that, if I'm honest, and it's something which is something I actually probably need to work on. And I find I am always on because it's one of those few jobs I think that you can do from anywhere on the planet. All you need is a mobile phone and a laptop, and if you've got that with you, you're working. And it is difficult to switch off. And as much as I can put, say, like an out of office on, or tell folks, hey, by the way, I'm off tomorrow, just message me if the place is burning down. But other than that, I want to switch off. Clients and candidates don't know that, do they? So then they'll call you out of the blue, or they'll message you and say, oh, by the way, I can't make that meeting later. Can you help move it? Or, oh, by the way, that offer I've accepted, I've decided I'm going to pull out on. I mean, what am I going to do? Say, you know what, I'm off on holiday. I'll deal with it when I come back. So you've got to then jump onto it straight away. So with that, you are always on. And I think, again, in recruitment, people can't always speak during office hours, can they? Because they're in the office.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're, oh, can I speak to you before work? Can I speak to you after work? Can I have a chat to you about this on Saturday? And depending on who it is, you're like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll make that work. I did a call with a client in New York last week. They wanted to speak. I think it was because the time zone, it was like 10 p.m. The call went on till about 11:30 p.m. I started work that day at about 7 a.m. So that's a long day. Yeah. And especially when you get home and you kind of just starting to unwind and you go, shit, I've got that call in an hour. Right, I've got to kind of stay sharp. And it's a Teams call, so I've got to stick a shirt on for it. And take off my Metallica t-shirt for that. And, you just kind of have to you are always on with client requests. So it is difficult. How do I manage it? Not very well, if I'm honest. Not very well.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
I'm trying to have more self-discipline, like to really, I don't know, take breaks but it's so difficult because you just do that for a week or two and then bad habits again.
I mean, like the start of this year, I'd set myself this goal of losing some weight and failed miserably at this goal. Although I've maintained the same weight at least, I don't think I've put any weight on. Although I was good in not drinking until something like the 17th of February. That was pretty good for me. So it is about just trying to be persistent, and you've only got yourself to blame, and I've only got myself to blame. There's no excuses there. It's something that you need to do as an individual, and if you want to do it enough, you'll do it.
Yeah. And has your role changed over the years? Because I guess in the beginning it was very, very hands-on work.
Yeah.
Now, what's your role exactly?
I mean, it's still in some ways the same. I mean, I say to people that we have here and the staff here that there's nothing I would ask them to do that I wouldn't be prepared to do myself. And I still do the role of a recruiter with clients with certain roles all the way through from start through to finish. I think now we've got more offices, now we have more staff. Naturally, it's about team support, team management, helping them achieve their goals, putting an arm around them when they're a bit down, celebrating them when they're doing well, working with the growing marketing team, filming content, doing more stuff like this as well, which is great. So yeah, it's become a bigger role. But I think as the brand itself has also got bigger, there's more people that know us now as well. So it's less about having to farm for new business. There's a lot of business now that thankfully comes knocking, which we're very grateful to have.
Yeah, last time you told me that when you started the business in Hong Kong, it grew very fast, and then COVID, and then yeah.
I mean, we grew the business. I think in year one, we hired a couple of people in Hong Kong. It quickly became apparent. I think about 37 or 38% of our revenue was coming out of Singapore, which justified the launch of a Singapore office. We'd won Best New Recruitment Agency of the Year. I think I'd won Best Recruiter of the Year. And a few other things that year. So I mean, it was a really nice sort of like, wow, the hard work and the efforts paid off, which was cool. And then we started to hire more people. But as we grew, you then realize the issues of taking a business from 2-3 people to 10 people, and 10 new people, people that you didn't know and trust at that point. And some people were great performers, some people less so. And then obviously COVID hit. And we had to be quite brutal with COVID to protect the business, the brand, and the key people that we had in the company at that point. But yeah, I mean, we were probably across different offices, maybe about more than 30 people. And that went down to about a third of that. We tried to move people. There was a scenario where we moved a couple of people from Hong Kong to Singapore, thinking, it's only going to be a China-Hong Kong thing. Then it became an Asia thing. Then we said, don't worry, we'll move you to the UK. We'll put you on a bit of a secondment out there. And then obviously it became a global thing. So it happened quite quickly, but we made those changes to the business pretty fast. And then I think I'm right in saying that we finished 2020 with a little bit of profit even. I think we broke even or a bit of profit, I mean, which was a miracle. And then 2021 was a growth year. So we started then rehiring people. We had a very decent year in 2021. 2022 was our best year on record, which was great. And then that allowed us to grow and scale. And then again, 2023 was a tougher year in Asia, because I think it was a bit of a bounce back to reality from that growth year in 2022. But it just felt like more of a normal year of recruitment. I think for maybe some of the staff who hadn't worked through a downturn or a tougher year, I think when they joined and they saw 2022, they thought, wow, this is what recruitment's like in 2022. Like, it doesn't matter what you touch, it's a deal. And clients were just offering above and beyond candidates' expectations. And it seemed almost whatever you touched was converting. And that all culminated with a great trip to Thailand that we took the whole business on, and it was brilliant. And then the rug was pulled from under us in January 2023 a little bit, and it was that back to reality hit. But because I've been there, done it enough times, I said, look, it's not going to be a big issue, guys. We just have to work a bit smarter and work a bit differently, which I think most people have been able to step up and do.
And about the evolution of the types of position you fill, because you was just saying like companies provide great community experience in 2022. What about the evolution of that, of the power dynamics between companies and the candidates, the power of, the negotiation? How has it changed over the years? Do you see something?
Not really. I mean, I think the essence of obviously what we do and the principles behind recruitment, I think will always still remain. Over the last sort of 7 years of me being out here, I've seen all sorts of technology get introduced, and businesses try and bring in talent consultants to manage stuff internally, and some do that very well, most do it poorly. And there is still that huge need for us to bridge that gap for client and candidate. In a good market, candidates will always have the upper hand because there's opportunity and choice out there for them. And they know they'll probably get counter-offered, and then that enables them to push more. And clients are scrabbling for the few people that are available and looking. In a tougher market for candidates, clients have the upper hand, and it's, well, take it or leave it. You either want it or you don't. So you always have that slightly different power dynamic. I think this year is feeling more like a stable year where there's a bit more respect, I think, between all parties. Generally speaking, the more senior candidates know what they want because they've been around for longer, and they look for career growth, team structure, mentorship, those sorts of things. The junior candidates, I'm not saying all of them do this, but a lot of them are going to look for title evolution and salary. And they're less bothered about the brand or the business that they're going to work for. If a company's going to offer them a bit more money and a better title, they'll probably take that job. So that will always, I think, still remain.
But do you see, say, I read articles about that on LinkedIn or whatever, and I see, for example, the Gen Z, the way they see career switch, or when it comes to candidate experience. Do you see a difference with other generations? Not judging, just asking.
Yeah. No, that's all right. That's no. I'm judging all the time. No, I think a little bit. I mean, there's like a degree of entitlement from the younger generations now around things. And, when someone says, oh, God, I'm working such long hours, I'm so stressed. And so I'm thinking, Christ, you haven't lived. I mean, you want to see stress? I'll show you stress. But they don't have anything else to benchmark it against. So for them, it's stressful. But when they're being told, you should have flexible this, you should have flexible that, this is here, this is there, and they all look to their friends, they look to social media, they look to all these other things that can influence their decision on stuff. But the reality is, you're only as good as you are, and you're only worth what someone's willing to pay for you and your experience. So don't come and tell me, oh, my friend works here and she's got this. Well, you're not your friend. You are you, and you need to just realize that and just get your head down and work hard. If you want to succeed, work hard. You're not going to get everything given to you on a platter. Some people, actually a lot of people do get that. And it seems like that school of hard knocks type approach. Others don't, and they don't like that advice. And funny enough, we don't work with those people as a result, because we can just see the end result is that this is going to be a waste of everyone's time. And when you've done it for long enough with certain people, you just know the individuals that are committed and that value that advice and support that you give them, and others that are just going to flake at the end and waste, their time, my time, and my client's time. And we do our best to try and avoid them. Sometimes they get through at the end, and you go, damn it, that was a waste of time. But you look back and go, yeah, I thought it was going to be.
And because, as I was telling you before, I was in recruitment before, and I saw that there was a lot more people asking for remote positions, and again, maybe it's just my impression, but I'm under the impression that people are asking for more and more. Like, oh no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I know what I want. Here are my conditions.
And depending on what that person does, if they are exceptional, you'll find clients will sometimes give them that. But it only takes one business to offer up those things for then everybody else to use that business as a bit of a benchmark, but they might not work there and they might not have the skill set to be able to work there. But they'll say, well, there are these benefits or something. So you got to kind of treat each case in a case-by-case scenario. But yeah, I mean, the remote aspect of working, I think that's now come back a bit more to the office. We went through that phase of everybody wanting it, but now it seems the reality is that people enjoy working with their colleagues, or they should enjoy working with their colleagues, and coming to work and celebrating success together and commiserating together. And I think it just makes for a nicer work environment. But having flexibility around when you come in, when you finish, at the end of the day, as long as the job's done, does it really matter? But I think the idea, certainly for us anyway, of being a totally hybrid remote model just won't ever happen.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you see what do you foresee for the future of recruitment? I mean, do you see more and more AI powered tools, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, we're already seeing it, and to a degree, even we're using it. But it's going to play a huge part. But I think the human element of recruitment for those recruiters that are good will still remain. But I think with technology advancing, it will just remove the poor layer of recruiters, and then the idea is that you'll be left with just the exceptional ones. And there'll always be a job for somebody like that. It will just mean less poor human recruiters, I think.
Okay.
Perhaps.
All right. Let's move on to the last question already.
Yeah, sure.
So do you have any tips or any lessons that you learned as a business owner that you like to share to other people who own a business?
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to be sort of groundbreaking knowledge, but it's certainly stuff that I think has been good for me. Just being resilient in everything that you do. If you have something that you believe in, just work your socks off to see it through. But know when you're kind of trying to push water uphill that the reality is that it's not going to work, and you have to then sometimes give up on it. I've seen some people try to do something, and it's just not happening. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, you're not going to get it. So I think the reality to try and expect anything different is wrong. So you've got to change your approach, and you've got to put the hours in. You've got to put the work in. I see people that have told me, I'm going to launch a new business, but then they jump off on holiday or they go and do this. And it's okay. I mean, if you have a really small niche sector and lifestyle approach to it, that's good. But otherwise, if you want to run a successful business, it does become kind of all consuming and all encompassing. Work hard, make that happen. And then hopefully in the not too distant future, you can then start to reap the rewards of that and take time for yourself again.
Yeah. What we were discussing before.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly. 100%.
All right. Thank you so much, Adam.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you for sharing about yourself, about your experience and your point of view. It was very interesting to have your view on the evolution of the recruitment industry.
Hope it helped.
So if the listeners want to find out more about MCG Talent or about you, or even if they're looking to hire or be hired, where should they go?
So really easy. LinkedIn is our biggest platform. So if you jump on LinkedIn and search for me, Adam Michael Toctan, or search for MCG Talent, you'll find us on there. MCG Talent has, I think, near enough now 700,000 followers on LinkedIn.
Oh.
So we're pretty big, and I'm pretty vocal on there as well, sharing hints, tips, opinions, stuff like that. So if you want to learn more, jump on there. And on our website, you can check it out, which is mcgtalent.io.
Cool. Thank you. All the links are in the description of the episode.
Amazing.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
listeners. I hope you're inspired by today's business story. And if you're thinking about running your own business, you might now be one step closer to doing so. If you own a business and you're looking to get more visibility and reach new customers, try the social media pack from Octogen, a monthly retainer to grow your business through social media marketing and optimization. Check out octogenhk.com, the agency that helps business owners find their place on social media. See you in 2 weeks to meet a new Hong Kong business owner, and don't forget to leave me 5 stars to support me and follow me on Instagram at hk.businessowners. Bye!